Hui, it's louisity again, and for this reading vlog, I'm going to read The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Hoorah! So, I'm going to buddy read this book with Bibliophilic Richard from Instagram. So, yes, Richard and I are going to buddy read another book. Last time we had a buddy read, it was for Arisha and the Song of Death, and I had a reading vlog of it. I'm going to link it down below, and hopefully both Richard and I will enjoy this book. So let us begin reading this one.
Nanalo ako sa game niya.
So here's a reading update. So finally finished 100 pages, or at least more than 100 pages of The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Now, content warnings for depression, self-harm. So be aware about them if you'd like to read a book. Of course, you have to be aware that those things are like talked about. So yes, so we got to see how really sad and depressed Nora is, and that she decided to take her own life, but she didn't go to like heaven or hell. She ended up being in the Midnight Library, where she's given the opportunity to see like other lives and how it is going to be like if she, let's say, met Izzy. She kept her cat like indoors, and being with Dan, and like how they still didn't turn out like the way that they did. It's kind of like giving you that message of like, in life, even if with the things that we sort of aspire because we think that they're better, there are still like, consequences that come with them. So it's kind of like interesting. It's like kind of you get to see like the cons more when you're actually living like the experience. And to me, like this book was like kind of quite timely because I was having a little bit of existential crisis myself over the past few weeks. So I felt like it was just kind of a time, wherein you're just thinking about like, like what are you gonna do in life, So so far it's been great. There are some things though that were a bit disconnect, but I think overall it's good. Maybe it's because I felt like I was reading it at the right time. So catch folks later. So here's another reading update. So congratulations to me. I graduated in KCA, or Kumu Creators Academy, KCA batch 14, hoorah! So I'm almost near page 200, and what I noticed is that yeah, there was a part there that was a little bit, too scientific, but the cool thing about the Midnight Library, the book, is that it was able to captivate me. I was still, interested with the narrative, and I was curious about it, even though if there were like scientific terms about the part of, what you call this, Nora being wanting to be a glaciologist. So that's really cool about it, and also, yeah, we get to see a scene of Nora being a glaciologist, like in the northern Norway area. But what really struck me would be the scenes when she was a band member. So that is something like, dealing with fame and like getting the attention, getting the love, and like the repercussions of it. Like there was a scene like when she was doing a podcast where she went through a lot of things, the restraint order and all the things that were happening to her personal life. Like those are the things that happening backstage, and then front stage it was like all like glory and glitz and glamour. Like it's kind of like the typical story of like what people would talk about, like about celebrities. Like behind the curtains there's like a lot of things that are happening, and sometimes it's like it's not what people would expect. There's a lot of like sorrow behind the scenes, which it's kind of like with Nora when she was talking about like, is this what she really wanted, like with everything like that she could possibly want, there's like a part of it that she doesn't really want. It's kind of like when we compare or see other people's lives and how we wish they were them, but then we don't know the struggles behind them, and we can only determine that once we are actually, in the situation. And it's kind of a process for me personally, as like I mentioned, I think in the previous clip. But either way, I've been having some existential crisis lately, and it's like, is this what I really want? Sometimes I know with like, if I go to a different path, it still isn't going to be ideal. I mean, nothing in this world is ideal, so it's kind of like, you will never really know how it feels like unless you are in the situation. And like I said, it's a process for me because as typical or as cliche, it's easier said than done, but like you gotta appreciate the life that you're in. It's not really perfect, but like, would you have it any other way? So I'm still like personally in the process of it, and I think like this book so far like came into my life at the right time. It's just, gosh, like that feeling when you read a book and it feels like it is something that was just for you at the right time. We'll see. I'm almost like, I'm kind of like 1/3 done, like about 67% done. So we'll see how this book goes, and hopefully it's going to be a great read because I haven't been getting a lot of great reads this year, although I've read only I think 3 so far. But yeah, so catch folks later. Walk. So it's another time for a fake jar moment to figure out what will be our next read. So I'm going to, okay, so I need to get rid of this like one sheet. And it's time for us to like, because that's like from the previous book that I decided to pick and read. So here I am, going to be shaking this. Let's see what the fake jar will make us, pick. Okay, so I realized I was looking at the viewfinder earlier, but it is what it is. So I'm going to be shaking this. I'm going to be looking at the camera. Okay, here it is. I'm going to be looking at the camera and see which one shall I pick. I think I'll go with this one. Ooh, what could this be? What book is this? Ooh, what is this? Oh, it's another. Finally, I get to finish a series. It's called, I'm not sure if you're seeing it well. Not sure if it's reflecting well. It's kind of blurred for some reason, but anyway, the title of the book is called Billionaire's Love by Alexia Prax. So finally I finished reading The Midnight Library, hoorah! Despite, I've been doing a lot of things lately, I've been busy with like streaming, handling Kumu and other things in life, fandoming. I was able to conquer and finish this book because it was just so lovely, hoorah! So I finished reading The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Now, towards like the last nearly 100 chapters of this one, to be specific, 88 pages, like it really dived deep onto like one's desire in life, because towards like the latter part, Nora felt like she found a life that she was going to be happy with. Like, for example, that time where she already had a kid named Molly and that she ended up with Ash. And pretty much like she thought like that was the life that was in her. And it's interesting because it's like, it tackles a lot about, let's say, what if you decided to be in another life, and the other things that are in the previous life can change like drastically, like that part where because Nora is no longer teaching piano lessons, she doesn't know, or she didn't realize right away that piano lessons that she was giving to Leo meant so much to Leo, or she could have those lessons like changed drastically when she didn't teach, because like in her root life she was teaching Leo piano lessons, and then in the life that she gets to see Leo in another life basically, where she became now a mother, Leo is handling things differently and is really struggling, to the fact that Leo had trouble with the law. So it's kind of like I'm thinking, and lately I've been having a lot of Midnight Library moments. I would say Midnight Library because personally for me I have a lot of what ifs and all that, and like in this case, like that little decision that you made, if it was something that wasn't done in wherever you are, we don't know, it could have made a huge difference altogether, or already like it has altered what things could have been. Sometimes we may have what ifs, but there's, like, as cliche as they say, like everything has a reason. It does really apply in this book. How it's interesting how like this book kind of went a little bit of a, like I said, it is kind of scientific because it deals with like quantum physics and like the existence, perceptions, like sometimes life is how we perceive. That's like what I'm getting from the book, and how there are like possible like multiverses or alternate universes out there, and who knows, maybe there could be another planet out there. Yeah, and there's a part here though that was like, that confused me a bit, like you get the only way to learn life is to live it, but at the same time it's like you don't really have to exactly experience everything in order for you to like know everything. Like it's not like you have to listen to every music in order for you to appreciate music, or know what music is, and basically like you don't have to go to every single places in order for you to fully empathize, if that makes any sense. So it's just really an eye-opener book, and I feel like this book just came into me at the right time. There were some parts though that there was some disconnect, but overall it's been amazing. And like towards that ending where she decided to live, like that like change, and it's like something that could really help people that are struggling with certain decisions. Definitely just be cautious about reading this because it might be triggering for some people, but for me personally it's an eye-opener, and I really appreciate how like the book
wants to convey its message. And knowing Matt Haig, he writes nonfiction like self-help books, and he was able to kind of like put a fictional spin to it and not really aggressively, put out a message out there. So, and I like how the characterization of Nora, how that I am alive. It's not anymore like the willingness or desire. She said like I am alive, and that just like really struck me. And how sometimes life can be quite imperfect, but there's a reason why things are happening. I was getting emotional also reading this book, and I appreciate it. And I'm giving this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. But wait, I think I'm going to give it a little bit more. I'm going to give this book 4.75 out of 5 stars.
If you've made it this far, leave a studio microphone emoji. And I hope you folks liked this video, and if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, click that subscribe button and hit that little bell icon somewhere down there to keep yourselves posted about my videos. I'll also put down links and handles of my social media accounts, so feel free to check me out and follow me there as well. As always, thank you so much for watching. Always be thankful and unleash the reader in you. Bye, y'all. Mwah.